Hello everybody. I wanted to show you the game that I've been working on because I've actually finished it now. So first of all, I wanted to tell you that the name of the course that I've been working on is called Learning to Code by Making Games, the Complete Unity Developer. And it's from a company, a website called Udemy. I'm not entirely sure if I pronounced that right. It just seems like any startup these days has to have an unpronounceable name, but I will put a link in the blog post for you so you can go there if you need to. So I did buy this course and I'm following their instructions, so I haven't created this game off the top of my head or anything like that. I've been following the course. So Number Wizard is the name of the course that I've been working on, as you know. Sorry, the name of the game that I've been working on, and it's now finished. So what does Number Wizard do? Just to recap, so the computer will ask you to think of a number between 1 and 1,000, and then you will think of that number in your head. You don't tell the computer what it is. You don't well, you can say it out loud if you want. You know, the computer doesn't know, but you're thinking of it in your head, and then it will ask you if it will try and work out what the number is. So it'll ask you if it's higher or lower than a certain number. You will use a keyboard input to contribute, and then it will continue guessing until it comes up with the right number. So that's what it does. So I'll show you now how that works. So I'm gonna have to show you in the console of Unity. So I haven't been able to kind of like put this game out in any other way. So the type is really small, so I'm sorry about that. So you might have to put this video full screen, to read it properly. But in this window here, you can't see my mouse, can you? That's really annoying. Okay, right. Well, in the window that is to the, I'm going to point, no, that way. It's up there. Window. There. That's the console. So it's going to play in the console. So I'm going to press play. Oh, now you can see my mouse. Woohoo! So here it's going to appear. Okay. So I'll read it out to you. So it's got what the game is actually printing for the player to read, but it's also got some information on what's going on behind. So it starts off with these dashes just to show that a visual thing so you know it started. Welcome to Number Wizard. Pick a number in your head, but don't tell me. The highest number you can pick is 1,000. The lowest number you can pick is 1. Okay, so pick a number in my head. Okay, so I'm going to pick a number in my head and I'm going to tell you what it is. So I'm going to choose 467. I'm just writing that down so that I remember, so I don't get confused. Okay, so then it says, is the number higher or lower than 500? Press up if it's higher, down if it's lower, or return if it is 500. It's not 500, so it's lower than 500, so I'm going to press down. Then it says higher or lower than 250. So what it's doing here is it's halving the amount. So it knows now that it is not higher than 500. So anything that's higher than 500 it's just not thinking about. So it's within that 1 to 500 range. And it is halving that. Okay, so higher than lower than 250, it's higher than that. So I'll go higher, and I'm pressing the arrows on the keyboard. Higher or lower than 375. Oh, I press lower. Brilliant. Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. For the purposes of this, we'll change the number. So it's 375, so it's lower than that. So let's say 350, just because I messed it up. Right, is it higher or lower than 312? It's higher. Higher than 343? Higher. Higher or lower than 359? Lower. What about 351? Oh, computer, you're so close, but it's higher. No, it's lower. Oh, it's lower. Maybe I've done this wrong again, I don't know. 347, it's higher. 349, it's higher. 350! Hooray! That's correct. So I'm going to press return. Okay, and it says, I won. Yeah, well done computer, you won. You guessed my game. And the way it's programmed at the moment is that it instantly starts the game again. So you can see these little equal signs are just a visual signifier. Because it's only running in the console, there's nothing really visual about this game at the moment. So just a visual signifier that the game has started again. Welcome to Number Wizard. Pick a number in your head. Highest you can pick is 1,000, lowest 1. Is it higher or lower than 500? So it's starting again. So I'll show you now what the actual code looks like. So I just got to reorder my windows here. Okay, I'll stop that for a second and I'll bring up, this is monodevelop. So monodevelop is where my actual code lives, and Unity is where it compiles and runs. So here's monodevelop now, and I'll just talk you through the code a little bit. So we're starting off here by telling the game that we're going to have max, min, and guess variables, which will all be integers. So that means, I hope I'm getting this right, it's a whole number that doesn't have any decimals in it. Okay, so we're putting that up here because that is going to be global. It's going to affect anything in the game. Like any time you use the word max or min, it's kind of, it knows what it is because you've told it here. Okay, then we've got in here, this is our start scope, I believe it's called. Remember, I'm just learning, so be nice to me. Okay, so this is within the start scope, so this happens once at the start of the game. And I have created a function here called start game, which has all of this information in it. So that was all the stuff that you saw printed at the start. So first of all, the equal signs to show where the game has started, then welcome to Number Wizard, pick a number, etc. So all of that is within start game, the variable that I created, and that all happens at the start of the game. That's why I called it start game, etc. In here as well, I've actually now I've defined these things up here, but I didn't give them a value at that time, and I have done that here now. I've given them a value, which I believe is called initializing. Again, I might be wrong, I'm really sorry. Tell me if I am, though. Just don't get cross. Just tell me nicely. Anyway, so I've said that the max is 1,000, the minimum is 1, and you'll see down here, the highest number you can pick is, and instead of me typing in 1,000, I've used the variable instead, and then referred to it up here. Okay, and the minimum is 1, and the guess here is 500. Okay, now we could do it differently. We could have the computer can start guessing at a different value. One of the extension challenges they've said is that maybe you can do it where the computer picks a random number as the start value. So I would have to do a little bit of thinking about how I can make guess to be a random number instead. But I'm sure that's pretty easy if I just search on the internet. So that's that. This bit is just to make sure that it can get up to 1,000 when it's guessing, because there is a little quirk in it that means because it rounds down all the time, it can get to 999, but then no further. So but ignore that. It's only really to fix a little quirk. Then we've got the update scope. Okay, and anything that's within the update will be constantly updated once per frame. So we have, remember we've said that you can press up or down to confirm whether it's higher or lower. So we're saying if the input that's put in is the up arrow on the keyboard, then we're going to start off with guess being the minimum amount. Okay, so 500 is the guess, that's the minimum amount that it can be. So that means that all the other numbers from then on that it's going to try and guess from, that range will be higher than the minimum, which is 500. Okay, and then it's going to do the next guess. Okay, so this is a function, and if we look down here, this is what this function actually is. What it's doing here is it's taking, it's saying that the guess will be the maximum plus the minimum divided by 2. So if we're saying it's higher, the maximum, remember, is 1,000. The minimum is 500. It can't be lower than that because we've already said it's higher. So 1,000 plus 500 is 1,500 divided by 2 is 750, and that gives you halfway between the minimum and the maximum. So that's what that's doing. So it does that, it works that for you, and then it says higher or lower than, and then it's the guess that it's come up with here. Okay, so if it was, we did say higher, then it will come up with 750 first of all, because it's done this calculation based on the fact that we said it was higher, and it's come up with 750. So this will print out as 750 in the console. And then it's saying, okay, what do you want to do with this information? Is it higher, is it lower, is it equal? So then you tell it. and then this will repeat. So if we go back up here, we've done it. But if we didn't press up, we might have pressed down, in which case it's going to do the same kind of process, but this time the maximum becomes that guess. So instead of 500 being the minimum, 500 is now the maximum. Okay, then it runs the next guess again, which is this down here, comes up with a new number for you, and it'll just keep running this on a loop until you get to the number where you say that's correct. So our number was 350. It wasn't 467, forget that number. It was 350, it was always meant to be 350. So our number is 350. When we got to that, we pressed enter, it said I won. And then the very last thing it does is say start game, in which case it does this again, which is what we saw that it did. So I'm just going to go back to Unity, bring it up for me. Okay, so as I said, it starts it again. You can see it all here. I'm just going to clear it for a second so there's not as much text on the screen. And we'll do it again. And this time I will try and actually remember which is up or down from a certain number. Clearly not one of my strong points. Same as left and right. I'm not good at that. Okay, so my number this time I'm going to say is 231. 231. Right, let's go. So run the compiler. Here it is. Okay. Pick a number. Highest is 1,000. Lowest is 1. Is it higher or lower than 500? It's lower. Play along with me. Is it higher or lower than 250? It's oh god, it's lower. I nearly said higher. Okay, I can do the coding. I just don't know what numbers are up or down. Okay, 125 higher. 187 higher. 218 higher. 234 lower. 226 higher. 230 higher. 232 lower. It's 231. Enter. Okay, so there it works. So in doing this, if I just go quickly back to Mandoid, move up and bring it up for me. So I've learned quite a few things here. So obviously, first of all, this is my first piece of code. It's my first script that I've done within Unity using C#. So I've learned that. I've learned how to define some variables here, some integers in particular. I have created my own functions here. Void meaning that it's not going to return a value. That one threw me for a while, but I learned that as well. I have definitely learned about the syntax of everything. So, you know, curly brackets, colons at the end of lines, etc. Knowing that this is a string because it's inside the inverted commas. So, you know, that's something that's going to be printed out on the screen. I've learned a little bit of the maths that might be used. I've learned how to fix my own bugs. I've had quite a lot of bugs. I've learned a little bit about scoping. So, you know, whether something happens once at the beginning of the game or whether it happens like repeatedly once per frame. And maybe some of the bits that I've forgotten, you might know more than I have. But that's Number Wizard, and I'm very pleased with it. And I believe the next thing that we're going to do is to put something visual with Number Wizard. So that'll be what my next few Unity blog posts will be about. So I hope I made that easy to understand. I hope I didn't talk too fast. Please let me know, and thank you for watching. Bye.